This is Algebra 1, it's Semester 2. It's the third unit called Quadratics. The first lesson in the third unit called Zero Property Practice. So, Zero Property Practice, well, let's get to that in 1 second. This is on creatormath.com. It's under the Algebra tab. Copy the following problems into your composition book on the correct pages according to the table of contents with the notes for those pages from creatormath.com under the Algebra tab. You do need the notes. They're there on that table of contents. Click on the word notes and a photo of the board or notes will pop up. You're going to copy those in the composition book, follow the page numbers, and then these will be the practice problems that go along with those notes. So basically speaking, the zero property rule says that if you've got AB and it equals 0, and these are two variables, A equals 0, one of these has to equal 0 or both. B equals 0, one or both, right? Or both. And what that means is if this was 0, you'd have 0 times B, that would be 0. If this was 0, you'd have A times 0, that would be 0. So this is this whole idea of the zero property rule. Here we have a problem they're giving us right here. Looks kind of complicated at first, but I want you to note that it's equal to 0. This is the critical idea of why it falls into this set of practice problems, because here's an A. Let's kind of define it a little bit. If this is A, negative 5W, and this is B, W minus 8 raised to the power 2. This would be A, and this would be B. So what we have to do is pretend, put this one equal to 0, negative 5W. So if we say negative 5W equals 0, and we solve for W, we divide both sides by negative 5. Cross out the negative 5 from this side, we get W equals, what is 0 over negative 5? It's 0. Right, so we know that 0, W equal to 0 is one of the answers. Let's try the other one, this W minus 8. For this to be equal to 0, we take W minus 8, put it equal to 0, add 8 to both sides. The 8 disappears from the left. We have a W on the left and an 8 on the right. So for this to be 0, W has to be 8. And we can just look at it. If we took 8 minus 8, wouldn't this be 0 raised to the power 2? So wouldn't this term go to 0? Yes. If this were a 0 for W, wouldn't this whole thing go to a 0? Yes. So there's two answers to this. Here they are. The first one is we found W equal to 0, and the second is W equal to 8. Either of those answers proves this out according to the zero property rule. I think I'm saying zero property rule. I should be saying zero product rule. Product being A times B. Sorry about that, you guys. I just get saying any old thing here. It's zero product rule. Product being when two things are multiplied, or multiplication. It can be two or more. Let's go to number 2. Let's look at this one. So here we have three terms, 1, 2, 3, and there's our, it's equal to 0. So this is the zero product rule. And we're going to take the first term, 1 plus 4p. Just put it equal to 0. Let's take the second one, 4p minus 1 equals 0, and this one, p plus 2 equals 0, and we solve each for 0. We subtract 1 from both sides. We get 4p equals minus 1. We divide by 4 on both sides, and p equals minus 1/4. So we're looking for anything over here with a minus 1/4. I see one, well, I see 3 answers with that, so it definitely looks like we're on the right track. Let's do this one. Add 1 to both sides. 4p equals 1, divide by 4, and p equals 1/4. So we got two answers, p equal to negative 1/4 and positive 1/4. This is out, out. This one's still in, these two. Let's do this last one. Let's subtract 2 from both sides. P equals minus 2. So that would be the third answer. This one says positive 2, this one says minus 2. So there are 3 different answers that are going to allow each of these terms to be placed equal to 0 on their own, and therefore make the entire statement equal 0. Right? And it's zero product property. All right? Use the zero property rule, and I do call it property rule in here. What are the value options for the variable below? Same thing, so we're just going to repeat this process over. We've got 2z equal to 0. I'm going to put a line through my z. We've got negative z plus 6 equal to 0. And we've got 2z minus 3 equal to 0. We're going to add 3 to both sides. 2, z equals 3. We're going to divide by 2, and z equals 3 halves. We're going to subtract 6 from both sides. Negative z equals negative 6. Just get rid of the negatives, and we have z equals 6. Or multiplying through by negative 1 would be the more accurate way of saying that, but a negative on both sides can be dropped. Whatever you do to one side, you can do to the other. Divide by 2 on both sides, and z equals 0 over 2, which is 0. So we're looking for 0, 6, and 3 halves. 0, 6, and 3 halves. 3 answers that z could be to make this entire statement 0. Last one on this page, using the zero property rule, what are the value options for the variable below? And the variable in this case is s. Negative 8 plus s. I'm going to put a tail on my s equals 0. And negative 3 plus s equals 0. Let's add 8 to both sides. Gone from the left. S equals 8. There's one answer. Let's add 3 to both sides. S equals 3. Two answers. S equals 8 and S equals 3. Using the zero property rule, what are the value options for the variable below? It's 3w, w minus 9 raised to the power 2. We're just going to take 3w, make that equal to 0, and take w minus 9, place that equal to 0, and to solve, we'll add 9 to both sides. W equals 9. Divide both sides by 3. W equals 0, because 0 thirds is 0. So we have a 0 and a 9 for w. Using the zero property rule, looks like the instructions are the same for everyone. You've got 1, 2 terms here. We got a 3w equal to 0. We already said that's w going to be 0. And then we have another one here, w plus 10 equals 0, minus 10 from both sides. And at some point, I don't know if I need to do all of this equation solving for such a simple equation. I might just be able to look at this thing and go, oh, there's a term sitting alone here. It's w equal to 0. Oh, w has to be a negative 10. So 0 and negative 10. I could do this a lot quicker once I get what's going on. This one looks a little bit more complicated, so I'm definitely going to write these out. You've got 4p plus 2 equal to 0. You've got 4p minus 2. 4p minus 2 equal to 0. And you've got 7 minus p, no, p minus 7 equal to 0. There we go. Add 7 to both sides. P equals 7. That's one answer. Add 2 to both sides. And these are two-step equations, so maybe I go through the trouble and just do it out here. Equals 2 divided by 4, divided by 4, and there's some simplification, so p equals 1/2. Minus 2, 4p equals minus 2, divide by 4, and p equals minus 1/2. So you got 1/2, minus 1/2, and 7. 1/2, minus 1/2, and 7. You're going to creatormath.com to find these. You're under the Algebra tab. You're down under the Quadratics unit. And this is the first lesson under that, called the Zero Property Practice. All right.